Alright boys, welcome back to another Grand Cross video. A little speculation video today because, well, we did get some new mechanic yesterday on the JP Grand Cross and the final boss, Malaskiel and Galand. And I do think it's kind of interesting to talk about because, well, we haven't seen any transform characters since Eren and Camilia. And yeah, transform characters just suck. They're so bad, and any character they release a transform character right now with that same mechanic of basically using the ultimate, it's just gonna kill a character. I'm gonna get into that later on, but right now we do have a new way to transform, at least in PvE, well, the bosses, right? And that is through the new final boss, Galand and Malaskiel. And as you can see, on phase 2 they do transform, and it's pretty cool to see them transform without an ultimate. If you're not aware, at least for the two playable characters we have right now, that's the only way to transform. You have to get Eren to ult or Camilia to ult. And yeah, they just suck. As you can see, they do transform for a passive, which is very interesting. Now, we could see that in the future with other transform characters that they just make from now on. Or we could see something that I suggested a while ago now, my Black Clover collab, to where you can transform with a skill. And that's kind of the best idea I can think of to make them good. And if we go over why they're bad, it's because, well, they suck. You know, their normally for transform characters, their pre-transformed version isn't too great. Camilia does have some useful stuff where she has a stun, which is kind of useful, but if we look at Eren's the perfect example to where, you know, his pre-evolution state or pre-transform state is kind of bad. You know, you got the same ultimate, you're kind of just stalling, and you have this skill here, which just rushes ultimate, and yeah, it's overall not great. But when he transforms with the passive he gets, it's quite good. He can ult drain, he has amplify, has a decent passive, not really, but overall, you want to get to that point where Eren is transformed, right? And that's why it's bad, because, well, you have to transform, you have to use an ultimate. So why would you use an ultimate for, like, Eren, right? To where you can use the one, Sariel. Any character that can guarantee a kill on a unit is so important in this meta. And in the game, even when it came out, it wasn't that great. What he increases basic stats, basically, which, by the way, the one gets for free, almost, and probably even better. And yeah, it lowers the ultimate, lower attack for 30% for one turn. And bear in mind, you have to get the 6/6 to be useful, and even then, it's quite bad. So yeah, overall, it's just a bad ultimate. You rather someone who does transform to transform either with a skill or with a passive or some sort of way without actually using ultimate. That being said, though, they definitely could make it so where if they do transform, they do actually do some damage. Like, I think a perfect example is actually Galand. So Galand released very early on, which is why they probably didn't do this, but they did this perfectly. As you can see in the ultimate, he does actually transform almost. Watch. See, he does like transform, he gets the spikes, you know, he does the damage, and then boom attacks. But unfortunately, because it was very early on, he doesn't stay in that form. So they definitely could make a character where he transform and do damage, and that's probably the best option they could do. But other than that, they definitely could go on the route again, which we saw with the actual final boss Galand and Malaskiel, to when he transform with a passive. Now, there's one character I made a while ago in my actual collab forms, which was Black Asta, and well, I guess Asta, a demon Asta, right? And you know, I had the idea of basically using a count, basically having a passive to where if he does use that the buff skill 3 times, he does transform, and if he doesn't, if he somehow doesn't get the card RNG and does get an ultimate, he does transform like Galand in the ultimate, but then rather than de-transforming in the ultimate, he stays in that form. And that's the best way to do it, right? And as we saw what they've just done, they've even made a new actual animation where you don't have to actually have a cinematic like how we see the actual ultimates. They just go like black and fade in. And bro, this could have been the perfect feature for Black Asta. He charges up, boom, he just goes black, and then boom, he's in his black form. Just imagine that feature in the game. I do think that's definitely the way to go, and there's something we can see from now on. And I've brought up before, but almost every character could have a transform version. Like if we look at, especially at all the sins, normal Medios into D-Medios, we could have, you know, D-Medios into Assault Melee. We could have Skinny Escanor, who we haven't got in the game yet, into, you know, the normal Daytime Escanor. We could have Daytime Escanor into the one. We could have Skinny King into Fat King. We can have Small Diana into Big Diana. Lordy Merlin into Merlin. You get my point, right? Oh, bro, a perfect example, Purgatory Bun. I mean, obviously, Purgatory Bun's gonna be a normal character anyway, right? But a cool idea that I've said a few times in a few videos is to, well, after a few turns, he's with Hawk, right? He goes into Hawk, And if for one turn he's untargetable, he's not in the game, and then boom, after one turn he does come out and he's Purgatory banned. Because, well, if you don't know how Purgatory works, in the actual lore of it, the time in Purgatory is a lot quicker, or actually a lot longer than the real world. So technically one turn in Purgatory is going to be enough for him to come out and actually be a transformed character. That's something I can think would be very, very cool, and I hope they do. Now, one thing I want to go over why I'm not a big fan of transformed characters, because, well, this thing here, Eren right now has this little switchability, right, where if you do boom, you switch, it's still Eren, but he has the card. So I do hope in the future, at least for the UI stuff, they allow you to customize this thing. Because look, I mean, I don't know how they can do it for every single character, right? But if you look here, you know, when he does, you can only customize his pre-form. So when he does go to the Titan form, he doesn't have any cosmetics, which why I'm bringing it up, because, well, Demon Chandler is a character people are thinking could be transforming, which I would have said no, don't do that. But now that I've seen the new passive to where someone could be transforming without actually using an ultimate, I wouldn't mind it too much now. But overall, I wouldn't like it too much, because, well, Demon Chandler, I do prefer Demon Chandler over Chandler, and I want to be able to customize the Demon version, and the Demon version does have a sword, which is very useful, and I would like to have the customization to customize that sword, where, like I said, with Eren, you know, you only can customize the base form, and when he does transform, it's not the thing. I mean, it could make it so, well, you know, when they do transform, they still have that same outfit, but in some situations they can't do that. For example, at the time Eren can't have the clothes, where, you know, Escanor, like the skinny Escanor, could have the same clothes as the actual big Escanor, and you've seen that before with how he has the baggy clothes, and then when he does transform, it does fit him. So I like the idea, like, they can do so much with transformed characters, and I'm glad they tested it now with the actual transformed units, and hopefully we do see more transformed characters in the future, if they're good. So now, wrap it up on my final thoughts. Just don't make a transforming character a new character, in terms of we haven't seen him in the game yet. We haven't seen Chandler or Purgatory Burn or any other character that could be transforming in the future. If they're not in the game yet with, like, all their versions, don't do it. Like, perfect example, like I said before, we have every single Medius, we have every single, you know, Escanor, we have every single, basically, Merlin now. So make them transform in then, but don't do it for a new character that we haven't seen in the game yet, because, well, it's quite boring. I want to customize them all, and yeah, I've kind of said everything that I need to say. So yeah, boys, let me know what you lot think, and yeah, thank you guys for watching, and this is the second reminder to leave a like if you can. It does help out the video, especially if you did make it towards the end. And I think I should have a video later today talking about Chandler, because Chandler may have been teased on JP, so yeah, we'll jump with that later on. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace.